Hey y'all, let me know y'all can hear me. Thank y'all for joining in. Let me know you can hear me good. Let me know you can see this part of the table good. Look, I got to get used to this again. It's been a minute since I went live on YouTube. So let me know you can see this and let me know you can hear me good. Hey y'all. Yes, we can hear you. Awesome. Thank you. Um, okay, let's see. All right. So I'm gonna give it a few minutes and wait till a few people come in, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. If you are looking for the supplies, they are in the description below. Make sure you, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button to see further future videos that are to come. Okay, bear with you, girl. Hey, good morning, Miss Williams. Hey, Felisa. So, okay, all right. So, yay. Okay, so yeah, let's give it a few more minutes, and then we're gonna go in. How is everyone doing today? So, Miss Laura, the sewing machine I use, I'll show you right now. Whenever I'm teaching a class, whether virtually or in person, and it's a beginner friendly class, I always use the machine from Walmart that is $85 from Walmart. I'll drop the link below after this live so that you guys can see which sewing machine I use. But it is $85 at Walmart. I have been using these type of sewing machines for about 7 or 8 years now, and they are definitely durable for those that are beginners, those that are not trying to uh, knock out a whole lot of things that are in a short amount of time. These are the ones that will get you going, get you started, and also allow you to make a profit and get your money back off of these sewing machines here. So this is from Walmart, and again, I will share the link below. Yeah, I will share the link below on which so that you can purchase you one if you don't have this one. Okay. Are there other good sewing machines? Yes, yes, it is. There are other good sewing machines, but this is the one that I use preferably. Hey, good morning. Hey, Miss Maggie. Thank you for joining in. She said that was her first machine as well. Yes. So look, I like to go fast, right? So I do have a different sewing machines that I use when I'm trying to knock out some things. But these are the one that I just showed is a beginner friendly sewing machine, and it gets the job done. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and I still haven't gotten one yet. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. This one is a good one. Okay. I promise to you, it's a good one. This one is a good one. I need to go in and put that in there, but we're going to hide that for now. So we're going to go ahead and get started, but y'all can see me really good, right? Y'all can see this board good because this is where it will be, everything will happen right here. So let me know you can see this good. It's not blurry. It's not anything. Hey, Miss Raina, good morning. Yes, everything is well. Okay, perfect. So I want to thank you guys for joining in with me. A lot has changed and has happened in the course of my life. I used to go live often, like at least 2 or 3 times a week, but things have shifted, things have changed. But your girl is coming back, and I'm coming back stronger than before. So I want to be able to share with you guys what I have been I'm doing kind of like behind the scenes, trying to find out what works for me and what does not work for me, what works for that I have done research that works for others. And for me, beginner friendly sewing tutorials are the best thing on the market, right? Like you want to know how to sew. So I like to show you things that does not take a long time to create once you get the hang of it. So something that like this would take me about 15 minutes, no more than 30 minutes to create. Maybe your first time it may take you an hour, but it's okay because you'll get better and better at it and quicker at it as you go. So I ask you today to not lose courage in starting what you want to do, right? So if you want to learn how to sew, start small. Don't think about, hey, I got to do the biggest thing on the planet. No, start small and make something that you can either gift to someone or to create for your child or even to sell. But when you first start off, look at it as I'm trying to perfect my craft because I want to learn how to do it, right? So this is what I've been researching. And so these are the things that I'm going to be sharing with you guys on how to create. All right. All right. So let's go. So today, I'm getting ready to be a first time Mima. Yay. So I'm getting ready to be a first time Mima. And my daughter is having a girl. And it's going to be a tiny tot, right? It's going to be a really, really small baby. So I had to go in and find patterns that will work for her baby. And so this is one of them. So I want to show you how to create these little bitty tiny baby preemie shorts. Okay. When I say they may look big to y'all, I can't tell if it's big to y'all, but it is really, really tiny. Very, very, very tiny. And then this preemie hat as well. Both of the patterns, the petite pegs is what I use for these little bitty shorties. And then the Coral Company hat, newborn hat is used for this. So this one goes from, I believe, preemie all the way to like 12 months. And this one goes, this probably like the same thing. But on this pattern here, you have several different creations that you can make from the pattern, which I'm just going to, I already traced out mine and I'm just going to use what I traced out. So they have Petite Pegs has a shorties pattern. Then they have a biker type pattern connected to this. So it's shorties, biker tights, like not the ankle length, but the calf muscle where your calves are at, that length, and then the ankle length leggings, okay, on this same pattern, and it's free. So look at the description bar below, download the pattern, print it out, and then if you have to come back and follow me, do just that, okay? So I used to sell on Etsy, Miss Nelson, but I couldn't keep up with the demand as it was too overwhelming for me. So Etsy is not my go-to in regards to selling because I couldn't keep up with the demand, and I don't like my name to have a bad name because I couldn't keep up with the demand, right? That's a blessing to have a high demand, but it's also a curse when you are working alone, right? I'm no longer working alone, so we'll think about Etsy on the later run, on the later go. But right now, I do not sell on Etsy. I sell strictly off of my website, and then I'm also in this place right now switching up some things. So Etsy is where I normally sell. I'm sorry, used to sell off of. Now I do the website or word of mouth. Like word of mouth is my thing. I have people constantly sending messages about how can I take one of your classes? I'm a teacher, right? I'm not so much of a seller, but I'm a teacher. So if I sell classes, that's me. When I create items like this, I don't like to sell on a custom base, but more so on I created it. If you want it, I'll sell it. Okay. So that's how I kind of flow. I do also attend vendor events and pop-up shops and things like that. And I sell my creations there as well. Okay. So yeah, look into that also in your community. Yeah, it do be. Hey, Miss Drew. Hey, beautiful. Hey, precious. Hey, sis. Okay, and so I want to go ahead and move on to the next thing. Go ahead and ask your questions. I'm going to stop. I'm going to answer them. And then I'm going to just keep flowing, okay? I love the personal connection, so I love for you to interact with me. Let me also show you something I did create using stretch and woven fabric. So I use a denim for this one. Again, we're working with a preemie, a tiny tie. I wouldn't use this pattern and woven fabric if it was for an older child, unless we're going to upsize, right? But I use this preemie pattern because I know she's going to be tinier than the preemie pattern. Okay, so I went ahead and used denim pants that I had left over, some old denim pants. I cut out the hat. I created the hat using denim at the top and then a stretch at the bottom because you want this to be able to fit over the head, right? So you can use your denim, Miss June. Hey, denim, you can use your denim here. So you can use your denim for the top portion of the hat and a stretch for the bottom, okay? And then you can use the denim for the bottom and a stretch for the waistband because you want this to be able to fit over their non-hips, okay? They don't have no hips, but you're going to want them to be able to fit over it just in case they was born a little hippie, all right? So just know that you can use your scrap fabric for this project, scrap fabric alone. You don't have to go out there and purchase more fabric if you already have fabric, okay? That scrap. Crazy typo, sneaking on. Oh, okay, you sneaking on the easiest way. The easiest way instead of taking. Yes, Miss June, you are so right. You are so right. Okay, so again, that's that. Now let's jump into the actual creation of this set. All right. So again, we're going to create this set using a stretch fabric only. Today I am using bullet fabric. Bullet fabric is also called Liverpool, right? So I'm using this bullet fabric here. Let me kind of put this in just a little bit more. There we go. So I'm using a bullet fabric and yeah, so I bought this fabric from one of our sew sisters who I'm not sure if she still sells fabric now, but the name of her group on Facebook is called the Bow Academy, and she used to sell this custom, fabric. So what we're going to use is bullet fabric or Liverpool. You can use any type of stretch material as long as it stretches from left to right with a good recovery. So it stretches from left to right. So as you're pulling, you can pull it here and it stretches from left to right. So that is a two-way stretch. You can also use a four-way stretch that stretches from up and down. So up and down, left to right, okay? You can use that type of material. Again, the two patterns are posted in the description below. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe button before you jump off of here today, okay? Hey, Miss Linda, thank you for joining in. So you're also going to need a pattern, and the pattern is posted in the description below, and it comes with, I'm missing something. Give me a second. Oh, it failed me. All right, so you're going to need the pattern, and you're going to cut it out or trace it at the size that you are needing. So I'm going to use the Preemie pattern for the hat. It comes in two pieces. So you have your top portion, which is this portion here, and then you have your bottom, which is this part right here. All right, so you need that, and then you're going to need the petite pegs pattern, and again, it is a free pattern. You're going to need the waistband, which is this part right here, and then you're going to need the bodice part of the tights or the bikers at this part right here, the little shorties, okay? And that is all you need. You're also going to need your sewing machine with matching thread. I'm using black thread today, and I'm just using a sewing machine. If I was to sell it, I typically use my serger, and this can be created using a serger only. You do not have to have a sewing machine if you already have a serger. Oh, I do apologize. You will need your serger and your sewing machine, because at the bottom you will have to, if you can see that, you will have to use a zigzag stitch at the bottom here. So you will need sewing machine and a serger, or you can use a sewing machine only, okay? And I'm going to take you through the steps of the sewing machine, but I will show you where you would use your serger at as well, okay? Um, hey girl, hey. The best thing about you is not just your skill, love of teaching others. It's also how you support Soul Sisters and small businesses. Yes, and you already know I'm working on something that I can't wait to share, that I use your sewing pattern. Hey, y'all, listen. While I'm on here, go ahead and check out Aloha Sewing Company. She's here on she's on Facebook. She's also on YouTube. She has her Etsy patterns on Etsy, and they are so beginner friendly. I can't wait to share with y'all what I've been working on since Monday. Okay, so anyway, here we go. So we got this. Thank you for joining us, Heather. I appreciate you. All right, so again, so that's all you're going to need for the pattern. Your sewing machine, matching thread. We're going to use a zigzag stitch throughout this whole, zigzag stitch and a straight stitch only throughout this whole process. You're also going to need some pins, okay? You're going to need pins or wonder clips. During this tutorial, I'm using pins only, okay? Pins only for me. I got this particular pin cushion because Lord knows I love him to pieces, and it says "so blessed" on it. So I purchased this from Hobby Lobby. Make sure you go to Hobby Lobby. Make sure you get it when it's the 50% off Sewology. If not, you're gonna spend some money on this thing, right? Okay. You're also gonna need your iron and ironing board, and that's just to kind of press down different areas that I will show you. Let's see what else, y'all. Oh, and scissors and or rotary cutter. I'm gonna use scissors throughout the whole thing because again, this is beginner friendly, and sometimes people don't even know what a rotary cutter is, but you do know what scissors are, right? So we're gonna use some scissors. All right, do we have any questions before I get started? Hey, Kalima. Hey, sis. So a serger is, let me see if I got something in here that will finish off your edges. All right, so I used a serger for this project, and all it does is finishes off the edges where it looks so neat, clean, crisp, and ready to sell, right? So when you go like to Walmart or Target or some big name place, then you will see they use a serger and a cover stitch to complete it. Well, we are just going to talk about the sewing machine today, but I will tell you that the serger is necessary, especially if you are going to be a seller, right? If you're going to sell, that way you don't have to keep putting disclaimers and say, this was made with the sewing machine only, okay? And there will be some unfinished edges, all right? Let me see. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to use bullet fabric, which is a type of stretch fabric. And typically I like to use scrap fabric, but this is what I have right now. I felt it was best for me to use this because it's cute, right? So here we go. So all I did was I just folded my fabric in half. Okay, just folded it in half. And then I folded it in half again. And then what I'm going to do is lay my pattern piece on top. So I'm going to lay the wider pattern piece on top. But again, you don't have to cut it out like this, but this is the way that I do it so I can remove all my extra fabric that's over there, right? So I kind of look at where my fabric is at, and then I'm just going to cut straight across to get rid of some of this. Make sure you interrupt me and ask whatever questions you may have. So I'm just going to cut across here to get rid of all of this extra fabric that I don't need. I'm going to move that to the side. So on this, you're going to need at least, I always say buy a yard or more of fabric. I never buy half a yard or a quarter of a yard. I always buy at least 1 yard when I go, purchase fabric. So, but you're only going to need probably about half a yard for this particular set, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut off this salvage edge that's right here. When I tell y'all it's so simple, it is so simple. Thank you all for joining in. All right, so what I'm going to do on the pattern, it calls for you to cut 2 of these out at one time. 2 of these out mirrored image. And when they say mirrored image or just cut 2 pieces out, you want to have them opposite directions like a mirror, right? So when you look in the mirror, you see opposite, right? You see yourself, but you see like you're kind of like backwards. So they want mirrored image, which means that you want to make sure that your fabric is, when you do it, you can fold it in half like this and lay it on top, or you can just use your 2 pieces, which I'm going to do right now, right? So I have my pretty side on this side and I have my pretty side on the opposite end, and I'm going to call this my ugly side, okay? So your 2 ugly sides need to touch, or your 2 pretty sides can touch, okay? And then you'll lay the pattern on top. I'm going to do it this way where my 2 ugly sides are touching. I don't know. Say ugly side or wrong side, okay? So I might switch up and say wrong side and ugly side at the same time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my main pattern piece of the bodice of the shorts right on top. Right? So I'm just going to lay it on top. And then I'm going to get my pins and I'm going to pin all around. And I suggest you pin like you've never been pinned before, which means to use as many pins as you need, okay? So we're going to use as many pins as we need and we're comfortable with. So when people say you ain't got to put all those pins in there, guess what? Don't worry about what they say. Do what works best for you. And so I'm going to operate during this whole tutorial as if I was a beginner and this is my first time sewing, or I'm just still stuck at, different parts of sewing. So I'm going to place plenty of pins around my pattern. And this helps it to not shift as you are cutting out your fabric, especially if you are using scissors only and not a rotary cutter, okay? So now that I have it pinned all the way around, I'm now going to cut all the way around this whole thing, okay? I'm going to cut all the way around, just like that, all the way, right? Let me know if you have any questions, and I will backtrack. And again, I'm just cutting all the way around. All right, so after I cut this, then we're going to move on and we're going to cut the hat portion of the bodice piece. So this is all I did. Let's cut all the way around. All right. Now I do not throw away my scrap pieces. I have a bucket to where I use this for different projects that I create using scrap fabric, okay? Now we're going to do the same exact thing for our hat portion, the bodice piece of our hat. So I'm just going to do the same thing. With wrong sides together, I'm just going to lay this on top here. And now I'm going to just pin the same way. I'm going to pin all the way around. I get my pins from Hobby Lobby, but sometimes you can get a bad batch, right? But their pins are pretty durable. They work for me, but sometimes you can get a bad batch and you be mad at yourself. But that's where I get my pins from. Oh, and I recently ordered some pins from what they call it, Temu or Temu. Yeah, I'm just trying to try them out as well. So I'm just placing pins all the way around. Good morning, Miss Haskins. Good morning, Loretta. Do most fabrics come with images on one side only? Yes, most fabrics come with images on one side only, so that you can tell the difference from the inside and the outside. Now, some cotton fabric, they look the same, like you're looking at the right side on both ends, especially if you're working with a non-print, like a regular solid color. And still, there is a right side and a wrong side to that as well, okay? But yes. All right, so now I've pinned all the way around the hat portion, and now I'm going to trim or cut all the way around it. All right, so I'm going to cut around down the bottom part, but I want you to see this part here. Make sure that you cut this out, like this little piece of, make sure you cut that out. It's important. So you go in here and you cut this out, just like that. Okay, got your little piece of, right, just like that. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and trim this down from the bottom. All right, so now we have our bodice of our hat cut out. We have our bodice of our shorts cut out. And now we want to work on cutting out the hat band and the waistband, okay? So we're going to cut that out now. Now, the waistband is telling you to cut out one on the fold, okay? So we're going to cut a little different this time. We're going to cut out one of these out on the fold, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and trim this up just like that. Move this over. This is my scrap pieces. Now I'm going to open it up all the way, right? Gonna open it up all the way. So you got your right side facing up and your wrong side facing down. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold over just one time to the length of my waistband, okay? The best fabric for this type of project is, they have this thing called French terry fabric or like double brush poly or bullet, you can use any one of those for this. But you can use any type of stretch material. But for a newborn or infant, some type of infant, I always suggest researching what fabric is the best fabric to use for the age group that you are sewing for. And I know that French terry is one. Um, so so French terry, and there are others, but this is what I'm using today is bullet. It works perfectly fine to me, and it is for my grandbaby, right? And so make sure that you find what works best and that for you or whoever it is that you're selling for. If you're creating this for a kid, the a bigger size spandex will be good, and they can wear it as a swimsuit. Okay, the shorts, they can wear it as a swimsuit. Thank you for your question, Kalima. All right, so now what I did was on the fold, I do apologize. I'm going to take this out and say it again. So I folded my fabric in half with right sides together. And now we have a folded edge right here, right? You want to make sure you put this where it says fold on your pattern. You want to put the fold on the fold of the fabric, okay? So that's exactly what I'm doing again. So I'm going to lay it here, and I'm going to put it on the fold of the fabric. And now I'm going to just get my pins, and I'm going to pin around it and use as many pins as you want. Right? I suggest if you are a beginner, use a pin at the top, the side, the bottom, and where the fold is, even though we are not cutting where it says fold. Okay, so I'm just gonna trim up real quick. Move that out the way. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I am going to cut the top, the side that is not folded where it's open. Okay, I'm going to cut the top, the side, and the bottom. I am not going to cut where this this folded edge is here. Look, I watch my girl Aloha Sewing Company, and she does this when she don't want you to do something. She uses her finger like this, and to let you know, do not cut on the folded edge, okay? So here we go. So I'm going to cut everywhere but the folded edge. This is my scrap fabric. I'm going to put that over to the side. Make sure you guys, if you are not following us on Facebook, we are So Cute, a beginner-friendly sewing group. And we are a community of women that are learning how to sew, encouraging each other during this sewing journey, and just loving on each other's work, whether you are a beginner or advanced. We love to see your creations, okay? All right, so now, hey, Miss Brandy, okay, so I already answered it. Perfect. All right, so we've cut that out. Right? So now I'm just going to move this to the side. Remember, do not cut where the folded edge is at. Hey, Miss Nay. All right, we have one more thing to cut out, which is our hat band, okay? So we're going to fold this over again with right sides together. Hopefully this is enough. It's not. It's not enough. So I will have to get some more fabric and use that again. But I want to make this a little bit more simpler. So I'm going to use some other fabric. Give me 1 second. Let me see what I got in here. No, I'll go ahead and keep using it. All right. So what I need to do is I need to cut out one more, right? So all I'm going to do, so all I'm going to do is get some more of this fabric. As you can see, you could have almost got all of it. Let's get some more fabric. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold it in half, just like that. You can do it right sides together or wrong sides together. All right. So now that I have it folded in half, I'm going to get my pattern piece. And again, this is the folded edge. And on the hat band, it tells you the same thing. You can either cut out two pieces that's not on the fold on a mirror image, or you can cut one out on the fold. We're just going to cut one out on the fold. Let me tell y'all something about directional print. I do not like it. Sometimes when I have to put, and that's why I feel as if I want to swap out real quick and do something different, which I am. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I want to change up a little bit. Let's see. I'm just looking for some fabric in which I can change up a little bit. All right. So I'm gonna change up a little bit, y'all, because I want y'all to see it when you're using directional print. That's a little bit on, it's not like it's wrong or a way to find out how to do it, but it's simpler if I show you this way. So I'm just going to get some other fabric real quick, and I'm just going to use a shirt that I had purchased from somewhere. I'm just going to use a shirt, and I'm going to just fold it in half the same way, okay? But I'm going to show you how you don't have to use just one particular fabric, okay? So I'm just going to use a fabric. I've folded it in half already, so I have my fold on this end, and I'm going to place my pattern piece on top where the fold is at, okay? And I truly hope I did not confuse you. And I'm just going to pin around, okay? I like to find ways that's easier instead of trying to figure out how can I do the directional print without it being upside down. We'll talk about that in another live, okay? This one, I want to keep it as basic as possible. So if you have a solid print fabric, you can use the same fabric all the way through. But if you have a directional print, which is one that's going one way, then I would suggest you look at my next, probably my next live where I can help you out. All right. So we're going to do the same thing we did with the fold of the waistband. We're going to do the same thing we did with that to the hat band. We're just going to cut at the top. The bottom and one side, the side that is not folded, okay? There we go. And then here is the folded, the open side that we cut, okay? I'm going to do the same thing with this waistband for the shorts. Just going to place it on top on the fold and cut it out. Hey, Darlene, I know it's been a minute, but your girl, I'm coming back. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the new things that are to come and making sure I go back to the foundation of how I started and build from there, right? So thank you so much for coming back. What file are you looking for, Miss Haskins? Anita? Yes, I for this one I didn't get this custom fabric made. I just purchased it already made, and I got this from our sis at the Bow Academy on Facebook. So you have to look up the Bow Academy on Facebook. But if you join our group, you'll see different. I do have posted different places where I get my fabric from, and that may can help you make a decision on who you want to purchase your fabric from. Okay, so I'll make sure I post it in the group. So make sure you follow me on follow the community on Facebook at So Cute Beginner Friendly Sewing Group. Okay. Hey, thank you for joining in, Miss Shawana. It's been a minute, I know, right? All right, so let's go. So now we have, thank you, sis. I appreciate you. So now what we have are the pieces that we need to create our shorts here, and then the pieces we need to create our hat. All right. We're going to first start with the shorts, and then I'm going to do the hat next. Okay. So we're going to put this to the side. Now, for the bodice piece of the shorts, that's what we're going to start with. We're going to just remove all of our pins. We're going to get our iron prepped and ready because we're going to need it. So just remove all your pins out. All right. Now you're done with your pattern. You can move it to the side. Now, the next step is to open up. Now you have two pieces. Right? You have your two pieces. So this is the top and this is the bottom on both. This is the top and this is the bottom. What we're going to do is we are going to focus on the bottom part. So we're going to turn our fabric with wrong side, right side is now going to face down, and now we should be looking at the right sides, the wrong side's facing up and the right side is facing down on your mat, okay? The next step is we want to focus on the bottom portion of the shorts. So what you're going to do is you're going to, if you had a serger, then you can serge these edges down here at the bottom to finish them off. Or you can use your sewing machine and use a zigzag stitch, right? But we're not going to do that because this fabric does not fray. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold it over about 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to come closer. I'm just going to fold over towards the wrong side about 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to just press it down with my iron, okay? Fold over about 1/4 of an inch on both pieces of the bodice of the shorts, okay? So I'm going to get this little fabric that I got right here. I'm just going to lay this on top, and I'm just going to fold over about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm just going to press it down. All right, and I'm going to do that for both. So this is my bottom, and all I did was fold it over about 1/4 of an inch, like a little bit, okay? And I just press down. I'm going to do the same thing here. Right side facing down. And at the bottom only, I'm going to fold up. And I'm going to press down. Fold up about 1/4 of an inch and press down. right? So you should have something that looks just like this. All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and get my waistband because I need to iron it down as well. I'm going to remove the pins from the waistband. Now with the wrong side facing up, this is my right side facing down, the wrong side facing up. I like to put a crease right here in the center. So I'm just going to fold it over just like that, matching up the raw edges. And here is my folded edge here, and I'm just going to press it down, okay? This just helps me when I'm working with fabric that tends to kind of shift and move, okay? And I'm just going to press it down. All right. So those that are just joining in, we are creating a preemie set, a preemie hat, and preemie shorts. Okay? Preemie hat and preemie shorts. All right. So my next step is I'm going to now use my sewing machine. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I am going to change my stitch to a zigzag stitch. Okay, so if you have this sewing machine that you get from Walmart, the LX3817A or whatever model that has the different colors for this brother sewing machine, then I have it at a 3. So what I'm going to do with the zigzag stitch, because I'm using stretch material, I'm using a zigzag stitch. I am going to start right here at this edge here. I'm going to back stitch. I'm going to sew a little bit, then I'm going to back stitch. I'm going to sew all the way down till I get to the other end, which is here, which is right here. And then I'm going to back stitch as well. Do you have to back stitch right now? No. But we're just going to get a habit of back stitching when you first start and back stitching when you end. And we are going to do that for both pieces here. Okay? So we're just going to line it up. And we're going to sew close to the edge that is not folded. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. Make sure you back stitch. Make sure to back stitch. And you're going to cut your thread. And always leave a tail back here at the back, okay? All right, I don't know if you can see it because I'm using black thread, but I'll turn it over. Hopefully you can see it. All I did was sew straight across using the zigzag stitch on this, the part that I flipped up and folded over. So this will be our hem. We just hemmed our shorts. Since we're working with something so tiny, you want to hem your shorts before you sew the shorts together and then have to fold in because it's so tiny, okay? So now I'm going to do the same exact thing to this one. Make sure if you are using stretch material that you get a ballpoint sewing needle. It is important to have a ballpoint sewing needle if you're using stretch material. If you are using just a straight stitch, then you don't need. If you're using zigzag stitch, make sure you have ballpoint needle. If you're using stretch material, if you're using a straight stitch, then you may not need a ballpoint needle, okay? So make sure you back stitch. And just take your time. Make sure to back stitch when you are at the end. Lift up your needle and cut your thread. All right. Let me see. Any questions? All right. So now our next step is to just go, if you have any thread that's hanging out, just go ahead and trim your thread. So now you should have something that looks like this. Just fold it up and press and hem down. So it'll look like this on the other side. All right. All right. So now you have both of those done. Your next step is to lay your bodice piece of the shorts with right sides facing up. Okay. Right sides facing up. Now you want to get the other pattern piece with right sides facing down. And you want to match them up, line it up. Okay? So now that you have it lined up, I now only want you to pin along this curve area here. So around here and okay, so around, let me line it back up, y'all. So you'll go on your left-hand side here and your right-hand side here. That's the only place that you're going to sew first is just this down here. So you'll start here with your zigzag stitch. You'll back stitch. You'll sew all the way around using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And you'll back stitch here. Okay? Same thing here. 1/4 inch seam allowance, zigzag stitch. Sew all the way down. Make sure to back stitch all the way down and around. Then you'll back stitch here. All right? Now, if you're using a serger, then you'll do a 1/4 inch seam allowance or 3/8 inch seam allowance, whichever one the pattern calls for. And then you would just serge all the way around. Just these two pieces here. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and place my pins. And I like to place my pins away from the edge when you're a beginner so that you can sew without removing your pins. All right? There are other ways to pin, but I found this to work with beginners. Okay? So I just put 2 pins right here. I'm going to do the same thing here. Do we have any questions? All right, so now we're just going to take it to the sewing machine or our serger, and we're going to zigzag stitch all the way around here and around here. Making sure you use about a 3/8 or a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Make sure to back stitch. Then you're going to get to the end and make sure you back stitch. Cut your thread. You're going to do the same thing on the other side, and then I will show you what it looks like, okay? Make sure you back stitch. Make sure you back stitch at the end. All right, so now you're going to cut your thread wherever you have loose thread. You're going to cut that off. You're going to remove your pins. Okay? I still see it. All right. All right. So now this is what it will look like. You're just going to do a zigzag stitch all the way around that curved piece here. All the way around the curve. We are not going to sew down this. Do not sew down this part, nor this side here, okay? Just around the curve where we pinned, all right? Your next step is you're going to now open it up and match up the edges. Now, what you can do if you want, if you had a serger, you can go in here and serge these edges, or you can use a zigzag stitch and zigzag all the way around the edge part. I'm not going to do that. We're going to keep it simple and go from there. But I am going to trim down this just a bit. And these are for my grandbaby, and that's who I'll be sewing for, and that's what I'll be teaching for at least a few months to about a couple months to come. Okay. So I just trimmed that down just like that. My next step is to open it up. Look how tiny they are, right? Now it looks like shorts, right? It's already starting to form and look like shorts. Our next step is we're going to go to this bottom piece here. And you're going to match up your seams, okay? So you have a seam here and a seam here. You're just going to match those up, and you're going to go ahead and pin. No, that's not. Not right now. My daughter's dog is wanting to be talked to. All right. So I placed the pin right there in the center to keep those two seams together, right? Now I'm going to just do the same thing on this side and this side. Just going to match up these two pieces here where you did your hem and pin. And I'm doing the same thing on the other side. Match up the two places where I hem and pin. So you should have something that looks like this, okay? All right, so the next step is you're going to take it to the sewing machine, still with the zigzag stitch, and you are going to sew straight across this part here using about a 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch seam allowance, okay? So we're going to start here. We're going to back stitch. We're going to sew all the way across here and back stitch as well. No, sir. Go get it, Elena. All right. So we're going to go ahead and do that now, and I'll show you what it looks like. We're using about a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Start sewing. Then I'm making sure to back stitch. And as I'm sewing, I'm removing my pins. and make sure the back stitch at the end. Cut your thread. Now you should have something that looks just like this. All you did was sew straight across. Make sure the back stitch here and here. Now we're just going to take our scissors and I'm just going to trim this down. Now you can use your serger and serge your edges, or you can use a zigzag stitch to finish off your edges. So just like that. All right. Next step is we are going to get our waistband, which is here. And with right sides together, we're going to open it up. Right sides together. So this is my right sides here. I'm just going to fold it in half. Just like that. And now I'm going to place a couple pins right here on the open edge. Not your folded edge, just your open edge that's right here on your right hand side. All right. So now that we have that done, our next step is to go to the sewing machine and we're going to do a zigzag stitch going straight down, making sure the back stitch here and here, using about a 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch seam allowance. Now, I have found that this waistband is going to be still too big, kind of like for a preemie. Like, I love the pattern, but I found that that it may be still a little too big. So I kind of go in about a 1/2 inch in, and that's for, because I'm making it for a preemie, about a 1/2 inch in, because this fabric stretches really well. I'm going to go in a 1/2 inch for my waistband, okay? Now, can you leave it at the 3/8 inch or the 1/4 inch, whatever the pattern calls for? You sure can. I'm going to do it at a 1/2 inch because I know my grandbaby is going to need it smaller, okay? All right. So now I got it set for it at a 1/4 inch, and I'm just going to sew all the way down, making sure to back stitch. I'm going to cut my thread, wherever my scissors are. So, again, I sewed about a 1/2 inch on the side, right? Instead of the 1/4 inch or the 3/8 inch. And now I'm just going to trim this down and cut my thread. So now it looks just like that, all right? Next step is we are going to fold this, open this up, and we are going to fold this with wrong sides together, matching up the seam, okay? So it was like this at first. Now we're going to open it up, catch the seam here at the top, and match it up with the seam at the bottom, closing up the wrong sides, okay? Just like that. Okay? So now our wrong sides are on the inside and our right sides is on the outside and on this side. And the wrong sides is sandwiched in the middle, okay? Now we're just going to take our pin and we're going to pin that down. right? Just like that. Pin it down. Now we are going to quarter off our waistband. So on this side, we place a pin, and then on this side, we're going to place a pin. No, sir. Just like that. Okay? Now we're going to do the same thing for the other side. We're going to open it up, match up your two pins that you just placed, and now you're going to put a pin on both of the other sides. All right. So now that we have that done, you have your back seam here. Where the yellow pin is at, that's your back seam, and then you have your front seam here, and then here are your sides, okay? Now, I like to go in as a beginner, and I just like to place pins right in the center of each place that I quartered off. And that's just going to help me to allow this to not shift as I'm getting ready to place it onto the bodice piece of the pants, okay, or the shorts. Thank you all for joining in. All right, so now that I have that done, as you can see, I just added more pins all the way around. This is going to help me as I'm placing it on the inside of our shorts, okay? So, as you can see, there is to recognize the front and the back, this is your back because it sits up higher than the front. So, the back will always be higher than the front. That is where you want to place the back seam of your waistband, right here at the back. Just like that, on the inside of the shorts, okay? So this is the inside of the shorts with the right side on the inside. We want to now place the waistband on the inside, just like that, matching up the seams, and then we're going to pin it. Right? Then we're going to do the same thing for the back. Okay, so that back piece right there, the back seam, we're going to find where we put our pin at when we quartered it off. Place it right sides together on the inside and pin. Right? So now what we're going to do is, now that we have our front pin and our back pin, we're now going to just pin where we have our pins at. And we're just going to pin all pieces together. And I'm just going to go around and pin all the way around. All right, so just like that, all I did was go in and pin all the way around on the inside. Just like that, okay? Next step is we're going to go in and we are going to sew all the way around this hole, the hole of the pants. So we're going to sew all the way around using a zigzag stitch, making sure to start at your back seam. So make sure the back stitch, sew all the way around till you get back there and you can back stitch again, okay? And we're going to sew about a 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch away from the edge, okay? All right, so now we're going to place it under the presser foot here, about a 3/8 inch seam allowance, and we're going to start to sew, okay? And you just take your time and remove your pins as you are sewing. And just keep sewing till you go all the way around. Make sure when you meet up, you back stitch. You're going to cut your thread. So you should have something that looks just like this. All I did was sew all the way around using about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You sew all the way around. And now you're going to cut your thread. Definitely, if I was selling this, I would not use this color thread, okay? This is tutorial purpose. Now, what you can do is, what I would typically do is I'll go in here and I serge around my edges, right? To cut off all of these raw edges that's here. So what I'm going to do for right now is just go in and just kind of trim around. The raw edges. And again, this is for my grandbaby, so this is more so for a gift for a family member. But I do love to serge all my edges, whether it's for a gift or not, or zigzag around it, right? If you don't have a serger. All right, so I just kind of cut off some of that extra fabric that was there. And believe it or not, I keep these little scraps too. All right, so my next step is to flip this right size out, and you will see you have a pair of shorts. Here are your shorts, your little bitty preemie baby shorts, complete and ready to, ready to wear, right? So that's the shorts, just like that. Now we're going to do the hat, and then we are done, okay? So very beginner friendly, very quick. It takes me about 15 minutes to 30 minutes for the whole set. But again, as you can see, with teaching, it lasts a little longer. Don't get discouraged. Right? So here we go. Now we're going to move on to our hat. To our preemie hat. First step, you're going to remove all of your pins. So now we're at the bodice piece for the hat, okay? So we're at the bodice piece for the hat. So now you have two pieces, all right? So here are your two pieces. The first thing I want you to do is pay attention to this piece of little triangle piece right here. What I want you to do with right sides facing up on both, I want you to fold it in half with right sides together. When you fold it in half, you're just going to match that part up. And now it's actually called a dart, okay? You're going to place a dart right here in the center. So we're just going to place a pin right here. Just like that, okay? We're going to do the same thing for the other one. Fold it in half. Match it up. And then put a pin there. Just like that, okay? Now we're going to take it to the sewing machine, and on this part right here, you can use a straight stitch or you can keep it at your zigzag stitch, and you're just going to zigzag all the way up, okay? Just going to zigzag all the way up. Make sure the back stitch here is all the way down and back stitch here, or you can use a straight stitch and same thing, back stitch, so all the way down right here and back stitch. And we're going to do that for both. Make sure you back stitch. Sometimes your fabric can get caught on the inside, so make sure that happens. Just remove it and start again. Cut your thread. And do the same exact thing to the other side. Cut your thread. Now you'll have, it looks just like that. So all you did was close off that piece here and this piece here, okay? And we're gonna just, no, gone back in there. Don't jump on that. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to now cut our thread. Just like that. Now, cut our thread. Our next step is to open it up with right sides facing up. You're just going to open it, and it's going to look just like this, okay? Just like that. Going to lay it down, right sides facing up. And you're going to get the other one with right sides facing down on top of it. Just like that. You're going to match up your two seams that you have here. And pin. Now you're just going to match up your two raw edges on both sides, on the left side and the right, and you're just going to pin. And you can use as many pins as you need. Just going to use about 3 on both sides and 1 in the center. Uh-oh. All right, so now that I have it pinned, I'm going to go ahead and take it to the sewing machine, and I'm using a zigzag stitch. I'm going to sew all the way around this top part, not the bottom part here. Only this top part here with a zigzag stitch, making sure the back stitch when you begin, all the way around, and back stitch at the end, okay? I'm not sure what happened, so hopefully y'all are still here. Let me know if you're still here. Make sure you go to your zigzag stitch. Make sure the back stitch. Just keep sewing till you go all the way around using your 1/4 inch or your 3/8 inch seam allowance. All right, so now that we got that sewn all the way around, we're just going to cut our thread. And again, if you was to use a serger, you can go and serge around the whole edge to complete it, right? I'm just going to leave it as is, but I'm going to just trim all the way around. All right, and cut any thread that you see. All right, so now that I've done that part, my next step is to get my hat band. And this hat band kind of runs big to me for a preemie, even though it's for a preemie size. So I'm going to take off about 1/2 inch as well, okay? Instead of the 3/8 or the 1/4 inch. All right, so for this hat band, I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to fold it over and crease it the same way I did the waistband for the shorts, okay? And I know this seems like a lengthy process, but this is just me explaining all the steps. So when you go back to watch the replay, all you have to do is fast forward, right? Okay. All right, so now with the hat band, with right sides facing up, so this is my right sides here, I'm just going to fold it in half, matching up the raw edges at the top. I'm sorry, with wrong sides facing up. Gonna match up the raw edges at the top. Right sides facing down, wrong side facing up, fold over so you can see the right side of your fabric, and then press down. Thank you all for joining in and staying as long as you can. This live will stay up for those that cannot stay on. And also, if you don't want to hear all the talking, just do like I do when I'm watching a video. I fast forward to where I need to be, or I rewind it. Right? So now that I have pressed that down and creased it, I'm now going to open it up. And with right sides together, I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to place pins right along this place right here, the open edge right here. And I'm going to put about 2 pins. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and I'm going to use about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to back stitch, sew all the way down and back stitch here at the end using a zigzag stitch. Okay. Make sure you back stitch. All right, so now that you have sewn that down, your next step is to just do the same thing. Trim off your that extra fabric. Make sure you cut your thread and remove your pins. All right, next step, we're going to open it up. Same way we did with the waistband for the shorts, we're going to do with the band for the hat. We're going to open it up. We're going to match up our seams on the bottom and the seam at the top. And just like that, fold over with wrong sides together and match up and pin. Right? So now now we're going to quarter it off the same way. Got this back seam, and then we're going to do the front. Make sure you pin it down. Just like that, okay? Did you use the bow? No, I didn't use the bow piece. I don't like the way it looks, Linda. If you look, I don't know on the page, on the pattern, if you look at it and you see how it sits over there like flimsy, I don't really like it. So I'm not going to use it ever. But here we go. So now we're going to match up those 2 pins there, and we're going to put a pin here and a pin here. Did you see the picture of it? I just didn't really like it. If I was to do it, I would make the bow a little bit bigger or a lot bigger. Right? So now I have pins on both sides and in the middle. Now I'm just going to take some pins and place them in each open spot, like right here. Right, so now I got enough pins in there. I'm gonna take this to the hat, in the same way as I did for the shorts. I'm just gonna leave it with the wrong sides out, and on the inside it has the right side. Right, just gonna open it up just like that. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold it in half, find the center of my front and back, right there. And I'm just going to use my scissors and kind of put a little snip right there at the front and the back. You can see there's my little snip. Now I'm just going to get my hat band and I'm going to place it on the inside of the hat the same way I did for the shorts. And I am going to pin. Now there is no front and back to the bodice piece of the hat. So you just choose where you want to put your back seam at the back on either side, okay? And now you just go in and you fill in where your pins are at. Very simple project, very beginner friendly, not time consuming at all like this video is, but very beginner friendly. Like you can have this done in no time. Right? So now we have it pinned all the way around. Now we're going to take it to the sewing machine, do the same thing we did for that waistband of the shorts, and we're going to sew all the way around, making sure to back stitch. All right, keep it on your zigzag stitch using a 1/4 inch or a 3/8 inch seam allowance and sew all the way around. Now with these particular patterns, you shouldn't have to stretch your waistband nor your hat band. It should fit right on in there perfectly. Even with me cutting that 1/2 inch off, it still fits in there perfectly. Right, I'm almost back around where I started. I'm going to get there and I'm going to back stitch. Going to cut my thread. And we are done sewing. So as you go all the way around, you just stay all the way around. Sew it all the way around. Make sure you back stitch, okay? Next step is you could trim it around, or you could take it to your serger and you could serge all of that off, or you could just use your serger for this whole hat in general, okay? All right, so next step is to flip it right side out. Now you have your hat. How cute is that, right? So you got your hat and you have your shorts. How cute is that? You can't beat that. Didn't take long at all. Hold on, let me wipe off my camera a little bit. All right, so it didn't take long at all. There you go. There's your shorts, your little preemie shorts, and your hat. Now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to put this on my little doll that I have, Landon, my daughter's doll. And so you can see how it'll fit. It'll fit even on a 0 to 3 month old, right? But it's really tiny, but you're going to see how real snug it fit. And I'm gonna put it on. First, I'm gonna put it on this doll right here. First, and this doll is like an 18-inch doll, and so it's really tiny doll. So you can see how it'll fit if you was to create the doll. You can see that it fits on that doll as well. So that's what it looks like on the doll. Okay. Just like that. Really cute on the doll. And now let's show you what it could fit like on this 0 to 3 month. And now, Landon, he pretty thick, okay? Landon pretty thick. But them legs is what I'm looking at. Them little tiny legs. Here we go. So you can see it doesn't just still fit a preemie. It can also go all the way up to like a 0 to 3 month, okay? So that preemie size is pretty big still. So you will have to adjust it for your baby, okay? Or who you selling it or sewing it for. So as you can see, that's what it looks like on Landon. Okay? Fits really good on him. Yeah, so I'm gonna make a shirt as well for these. Actually, I made onesies. So yes. All right. So that's what I did for. So I'll think I already did a live in the group on how to create a shirt. Yeah. So check that out. Landon thick, okay? Landon thick. All right, so he thicker than a 0. Yeah, this stomach part is thick. All right, so there is that on the shorts, and then for the hat, we'll put the hat on Landon. Right now, Landon has on a turban, but we're gonna put the hat on Landon right here. So there is the hat on Landon. As you can see, this is mainly for a preemie. So when you flip this up, Landon head too big for it. Okay? But it'll still work if you leave it down. All right? For your 0 to 3 month. But here you go. Here is the hat. You can push it back like that. And yeah. So there you are. Take this shirt off of Landon right quick. All right, so this is what it's going to look like. Just your little bitty shorts and your hat. Now, don't forget, if you make some barefoot sandals to go with it, and I don't think I have any here, but if you made some barefoot sandals to go with it, this will be perfect as well. I did make these little booties, about a week or so ago, or earlier this week, I think. Or last week during the Maze Sorting Challenge, the first week we made booties or socks, right? So again, as you can see, you can put the little booties on there using that free pattern that's in the group. So make sure you head on over there to So Cute Beginner Friendly Sewing Group, and you will find the free patterns that are listed in there. But as you can see, there go the little booties. Oh, and these things definitely come in handy if you're going to sell or even just to display. I get these off of Amazon, and I will add the link to the bottom in the description. All right, so now I'm just going to put on his other little sandal thing, booty thing. These fit perfect. How cute. And there we go. So Landon is dressed and ready to go. All he needs is a shirt, and that's it. How cute is this? Anyway, do we have any questions? So poor Landon with them bold. I didn't even look at that. Landon is bold, ain't he? Definitely bold. But there we are. So anyway, if you have any questions, make sure you ask them below in the comments, or you can ask the questions in the So Cute Beginner Friendly Sewing group. Share your creations in there with us if you decide to create this hat and on these shorts using the free pattern that's posted in the description. And that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining in with me, and I will chit chat with you all later. Have a good day. Thank you for joining in. Make sure you go back to watch the replay. You're welcome, Miss Haskin. Okay, tried to turn it off the wrong place. Here we go.